Thank you.
Hey, everybody. Hello. Hey, thanks for coming. We're gonna adjust the lights here a bit. Thanks for coming. Nice to see so many people here for Space Weekend. What a great day. So, last folks are coming in. I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Rob Rosano. I live over in Marin County. I've been a fan of space travel for as long as I can remember. I have a job that doesn't connect with space at all. I've been all my life managing a small family business that owns and manages Bristol apartments. But I've been curious about space, fascinated by space for as long as I can remember. Going back to watching Apollo 11 land on the moon when I was 9. So I know, looks like there's some 9-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 10-year-olds here. I'm excited for that day to happen again, when we'll be landing on the moon sometime in the next few years. And I hope some of you will have the inspiration, like I did, of being able to go out at night and look up at the moon and think to yourself, wow, there's some people walking around up there right now. So I'm excited for that. But I'm here today to tell you about commercial space flight. So I flew into space with Virgin Galactic on October 6th, 2023, on a suborbital flight. So we're commercial astronauts. We bought a ticket, we go to space, and we're suborbital. We're only in space for about 3 minutes. But even though it's a short duration, it's still a very transformational, still very profound experience. So I'm going to start with some slides and a couple of movies. So, and I'm going to go for about maybe half an hour or so, but I'm happy to have questions as I go through the slides or at the end, and I'll be around all afternoon. So, you know, I'll come up and say hi at the end or find me around. I'm glad to talk all the rest of the day. So here's a short video that talks a little bit about our flight.
I feel like I'm so ready. I feel like I've always been ready.
It's a tribute to my father because he's the one who first introduced me to the stars.
I've been planning this for a long time. We're flying on the shoulders of giants.
So that was our day. 6 people on board, and so far Virgin Galactic's had about 12 flights to space with people, and Blue Origin is also flying people to space. They've flown 13 times now. Their next flight is tomorrow morning. So between the two of them, they've flown over 100 people to space in the last 5 years. But this all goes back to this man on the left, Raymond Ortega, and he was a hotel owner. And like what would happen in the early days of aviation, he sponsored a prize for the person or persons to fly New York to Paris. And that was successfully done in 1927 by Charles Lindbergh. And he was very arguably the most famous person worldwide of his era. And jumping up to 1996, Peter Diamandis there, who's wearing the medal, was frustrated, was disappointed that none, NASA, no one else was ever had any ideas for taking people to space, other than their career astronauts. So he started his own prize, and he called it the X Prize. And the prize was for the first private company to fly twice into space with 2 weeks, no government funding. So Paul Allen, there in the baseball cap with the top left, Bill Gates' partner at Microsoft, decided to fund the great airline designer Burt Rutan, the taller man in the middle with the denim shirt. And Burt Rutan designed what you see there, Spaceship One. Richard Branson, the white shirt, came in near the end of that and said, hey, this is a great concept. We're going to build a bigger spaceship called Spaceship Two, and we're going to start flying people to space. And this was 2004. I never thought I'd have a chance to fly to space. I always wanted to, but I just thought it would be impossible. There was never that opportunity until Richard came along and said to start flying people. So I was like, now my radar's up, like, oh, maybe that's going to be my chance. So I signed up in 2010 and bought a ticket. Interestingly, in the Aerospace Museum of Washington, you can see both Spirit St. Louis, Charles Lindbergh's plane, and Spaceship One hanging in the milestone of the flight gallery. It's been moved, but you can see them both there. Virgin Galactic sold a lot of tickets, hundreds of tickets, and here's a gathering of us at Spaceport in New Mexico. We did a lot of events, and got to meet the people that are flying the spaceship, see the spaceship, things like that. I also thought that I wanted to be best prepared as I possibly could be. So we had an opportunity to go on a weightless flight, an airplane that flies level, and then it points towards the ground, and for about 30 seconds you float weightless aside, and then it goes up, back to what it was, and you feel 2 G's, 2 times the force of gravity for another 30 seconds, and then you're down again. And we did that 16 times. And that was a great experience for me because I wanted to know how my body would react to those kinds of forces. We also had the opportunity to do centrifuge training. So near Philadelphia, there's a facility called NASCAR. It was a one-person capsule on the end of an arm, and you sit in the capsule with a computer screen in front of you, and they spin you around the centrifuge and move the capsule in such a way that you feel the forces of gravity exactly the way you feel it during the flight. So that was another thing I wanted to see how my body would react to, so I could be most focused, during the space flight. So I thought, that was some early training, I was able to do. I also started talking about space flight with students. I started about 30 years ago doing classroom activities with teachers, talking to students about space and astronomy, and we extended that with Galactic into video calls with classrooms all over the world. And so going back to the last 12 years, we've done about 350 calls with almost 70 to 80 schools in 20 different countries. So if there's any teachers here, educators, school superintendents that would like to connect and have a talk directly, with me or other astronauts with their school, please come see me. Because we're still doing those regularly. So I was actually not slated to be on that flight. I was supposed to go to someone else who actually couldn't make it. So Virgin Galactic in August 2023 sent this email and said, hey, we're figuring out how to fill a spot when one opens up. If you want to go early and pay a premium, click here. So I was like, take it. And in part because I had done all this outreach work, they chose me to take the seat. So just about 6 weeks later, my wife and I were off to New Mexico. This is our training schedule prior to the flight. So we have 3 days before we fly to work on some certain things. We get used to our equipment, get to know procedures in the spaceship. This is actually the flight suit that I wore on the flight. You'll see it in the pictures up there. One of the most important things we did was some geo-awareness training on the second day on an acrobatic flight. I'll just take you through that. So here's the spaceport in New Mexico, southeast of Albuquerque. It's a beautiful, beautiful building. And there, out on the ramp, is a carrier plane. So the Virgin Galactic system is a very different kind of system. It's a custom-built plane. It looks like 2 planes. So it's really one very large wing, about the width of a 757, with 2 bodies, and room in the middle for the spaceship. And we take off from the runway there next to spaceport, go to space, we come back to the same runway about an hour and a quarter later. So our arrival at spaceport is very dramatic. We come in this goofy lit hallway. We think, we're arriving, and in the middle of the hallway, it's actually you realize that, oh wait, I'm on a bridge over a hangar, and we look down and we see our spaceship for the first time in person, and it's a really emotional moment. On our flight, I had along with me Trevor Beatty in the middle. He's from the United Kingdom. And Namir Salim on the right-hand side, she's the first person from Pakistan to go to space. So very exciting, seeing the spaceship, for the very first time, and looking at it and knowing that, wow, just a few days, I'm going to be inside that thing. And there's also moments of contemplation where my wife and I are looking at it thinking, oh look, we're really going to do this, right? So here's another view of the spaceship with the carrier plane. They're both made together. You can see it's a very odd looking configuration. Not what you see at the airport, but it's really the genius of Burberry Town, the designer that came up with this. It turned out it's a very efficient way to take the spaceship up to space. There's a lot of benefits from air launching the spaceship. They take it up to about 40,000 feet, release it from the carrier plane. Spaceship fires a rocket motor and you go to space. First day of training, we're doing things like getting in and out of our seats, which is not an easy thing. Actually, it's easy to get out, it's not easy to get back in because when you're weightless in space, there's no gravity. And you can't just walk over and sit down. So they teach us this technique they call a rodeo in. So you grab the center harness and you kind of flip your leg over and pull yourself into your seat. There with me on the left is Beth Moses. She's the Virgin Galactic Chief Astronaut Trainer. This was her 6th flight in space. You can see she's wearing mission patches from all her flights and starting to run out of room on her sleeve. So we do crew portraits. And then we come back the next day for a G awareness flight, gravitational forces awareness flight. So we can fly in a small acrobatic plane and feel the G-forces similar to how we'll feel them during the space flight. So the pilot for our flight, CJ Sturko, had the privilege of flying with him. He's flown into space more times than any other human being. He's flew 4 times on NASA's space shuttle, and 6 times so far with Virgin Galactic. He's been launched into space 10 times. And for me to fly with him was very much an honor. Here's a little video from the flight. This is a small acrobatic plane, and CJ's out of control, doing some 20 moves over spaceports. My wife is on the balcony, so I said, "Oh, go wave." And it's really thrilling to be able to do that, especially with CJ. The other thing he wanted to do is like, hey, partway through our flight, I'm going to reach forward and hand you my phone, and I want you to take a selfie of the 2 of us with spaceport in the background. So you can see spaceport and the runway we take off the light from, and the area around New Mexico. Any questions so far? Anybody want to shout anything out? No good? Okay, cool. So there's a selfie. Very happy with that. The day before we launched, we have a rehearsal day. So I had 16 friends and family that came out for the flight. Trevor Beatty had also more friends and family, so we had to eat lunch with them and visit the facility. This is my grandson. He was 2.5 here. And interesting story, just this last fall, he went to school, and he told his teacher, so my granddad, my Noah, went to space, and I saw his spaceship. And the teacher was like, oh, you have a great imagination. Keep dreaming, maybe they'll happen. So they were kind of at a point where we don't expect people to actually be going to space. Yeah, you have a question?
Did you go to the moon or something?
Did I go to the moon or something? No, I wish I could go to the moon, but no. We went up into space and came right back down. So not even long enough to go in orbit like the people that work for NASA. So we practice donning our gear. You know, we're wearing 4 different things around our heads: comm unit, earplugs. I was wearing regular glasses. These glasses I have now, plus protective glasses over the top of these. We run through a simulation in a ground-based simulator with a video screen. And this was really important. It was really helpful to hear the whole timeline of the flight. Release, rocket motor firing, end of the rocket motor, now you're weightless, now you get apogee, now we're back in your seats. And to get used to the timing of all those events. You have to give a thumbs up to say, yeah, are you ready to go? And so I'm like, absolutely, no question, take me away. And then we come to flight day. We start very early, before dawn. There's a beautiful, calm, clear sky at Spaceport that day. This is the gathering area down on the bottom floor. And you know, for students, this is part of the message here, the takeaways, that we're at a brand new era of space travel. You know, for years, those who went to space were career astronauts, and there was a few of them that went every year, and now Virgin Galactic is working to taking dozens of people per year. So we're entering this area of spaceflight, and there's jobs in any number of areas. You know, they need photographers, videographers, people that design spacesuits. There's a barista at Spaceport. So she's making coffee and drinks for people that are going to space, and people that are building spaceships. So you can be connected in any number of different ways. We have a walkout in the hangar where we say greetings to all our friends and family that are there. It's a very exciting moment, entering the plane, entering the spaceship. And there we are on the runway, about to go. After we take off, it's about 40 minutes. We're all pretty calm inside, not a lot of chatter. We're just listening to the pilot's rotation checklist and climb up to, you know, they reach a very precise point at a very precise altitude where they release the spaceship so that when it comes back in, it'll be close to the runway. It's very easy to see a spaceship from the ground. There's a very noticeable orange fire in the sky, and you can hear it. And then it vanishes out of your sight pretty quickly. You know, it's a 1 minute rocket burn. And when the rocket motor stops, it cuts off at about 150, 180,000 feet. And then we just coast up to space. Where we reach an apogee of about 290,000 feet. And we stop, and gravity brings us back in. So, here's what it looks like.
5, 3, 2, 1, release.
You see the front of the rocket motor. Best ponytail flips back at the top right. And I'm feeling about 3 times the force of gravity, you know, on my chest. So it's kind of like as if you lay down on the ground and had 3 of your friends laying on top of you. For about a minute. So it's not so comfortable, but it's totally manageable. At this point, I'm really trying to just be relaxed. I'm going to make this transition from the thrill of a rocket motor firing into floating weightless when I want to be looking at the Earth. So very different states of mind. So I was just taking deep breaths here.
2.1 Mach, stepping up.
Trying to relax. That's Kelly, our commander, calling the trim up. So we're lying on our back at this point, and I'm just looking through the pilot's window, seeing things go from blue to black. And then all of a sudden, the rocket motor cuts off.
You are cleared to unstrap.
And I wanted to get earplugs out of my ears right away. I wanted to get the protective glasses away. I take a little move, because the moon's out our window, and then I could unstrap and float around weightless.
Unlocking feather. Copy that.
So we have a few different approaches. Namir wanted to do a somersault. I wanted to stay at the side window, top window. And Trevor went from his seat into the back of the spacecraft He did some real spaceman stuff. He floated from left side window to right side window. And at this point, we're getting higher and higher.
Roger. RCS coming on?
And the spaceship turns over. So it's pointing straight up, and then it flips over on its back, so it's belly up. Because in the windows that are at the top of the spaceship are looking straight down at the ground. I wanted to flip over and look at the Earth in a different orientation.
Welcome to space.
And then Beth's advice was, gee, if you want to let go and just float without touching anything, try that. And I did that. It's very quiet. There's not a lot of talking going on. There's no engine running. And pretty soon we hit the top with the apogee, the high point. It's extraordinary, the views of the planet. We have no idea. We have no idea what the planet is.
Apogee.
So they are in like 90 seconds, we go from 200 miles an hour to zero, which is amazing. That's how much gravity is pulling on you. So I moved at this point to a window at the top of the cabin because the spaceship flips over again. So I can go from looking straight down at the ground. As it flips over, I can just stay at the window and watch the view change from looking straight down to off to the side to looking straight up at space. So you can see me over the top right, I'm just stuck at the top of the cabin, looking down. The spaceship's turning, so it's changing my view forward. The sun's in a black sky. You never see the sun in a black sky.
Yeah, good view.
And then pretty soon after that, they call us.
Approaching re-entry. Return to your seats and strap in, please.
They send us back to our seats. So I stayed close to our seats. It was pretty easy to drop back in there. We had to get our straps on. You can see the tail booms out the window that are lit in on the bottom. The tail booms on the spaceship, they flip up while they're in space. I'm really concentrating on not messing anything up. You know, this is like an early flight for them. I was a little sign I gave to my wife to say, we're all good. Questions, anyone? Yeah.
Is it fun being weightless?
It's like there's a euphoria of being weightless. It's magical. It's really, really fun. And like just the gentlest touch off the wall or a seat or whatever, and you float. You're very gentle over the other side. What they tell you, like on the witness flights, is like your instinct is to try and swim and kick, but don't do that because it doesn't work. Yeah.
How long was it?
How long was it? So we were weightless for about 3 minutes. We were off the ground about an hour forward, like an hour and 15 minutes. So, anyone else? Before we go on? Yeah.
I would love to know what you thought or felt in the few moments when you were looking at the Earth from
Yeah.
space.
What was I thinking or feeling in the few moments looking at the Earth? I was really, like I showed you the picture outside, transfixed by this thin blue line of atmosphere. I'll put you a picture about that. I had a very certain purpose of just taking in whatever the view was giving to me. I wasn't looking for anything particular. I felt like I was just a sponge there. So I did like move forward and look down at the ground, and I was like, okay, that doesn't look a whole lot different from what you see from the plane. But really, the amazing thing is seeing this the limb of the Earth, the edge of the Earth, hanging in this empty, black vastness, this emptiness. It's really, really transformative. Yeah, so here's the view from the tailboat camera. And yeah, this blue line. Let's see here. So this blue line here that separates the ground here in this blackness of space, this is all of our atmosphere, all of our sky. Everything alive on Earth exists in this blue line. and it's shockingly thin. It's amazingly thin. You just don't, you go outside and you just look up at the sky and you think like, oh, it goes on for a long way, there's a lot of sky up there. But if you go away and look back down on it and look through it, it's like, how does this, like, this little thin line, how can it be here in the first place? And it's everything life on Earth is in it, and it's like this vivid, vibrant, electric blue, and the pictures and videos just don't capture it. And looking back on it and thinking, like, wow, everything in that line is interconnected and interdependent. But we're all running around on Earth doing, what we want to do, what we need to do, but we don't think of, hey, wait a minute, we're actually in this little thin layer shell of atmosphere that's keeping us alive, floating on this enormous planet through space. So as the ship comes down, they pull the tail booms back, and the point there is to guarantee that you'll come in the way you want to. You won't come in sideways, you won't come in backwards. It acts like kind of like a bed that you breathe. Actually, getting back in the atmosphere is one of the hard things about spaceflight. It's much easier to get into space, harder to come back in because of gravity and heat. As space gets lower, the thickness of the atmosphere, they lower the tail booms. You can see the runway there for the spaceport right here. So we're making a big turn that goes around here and lands on the runway there. It's a very steep glide slope. It's a glider, so the spaceship is actually an air-launched, rocket-powered glider. So when it comes in, it's not like an airliner that's coming in kind of at this angle. It's coming in more like this. And the spaceship lands on the runway similar when we took off, like an hour or later. And what's interesting too is another really innovation from Bertan, the designer, is that if you look, you'll see there's no front wheel. It's a block of wood. And so that goes back to the design. It's like, wait a minute. The spaceship's not taxiing around on the runway like a plane does. It stops, they pick it up, and they tow it out. And so we don't need a wheel for steering or moving around. And the wheel adds weight and complication afterwards by air pressure. And it takes up space in the spaceship. So Bird is like, oh, let's just use a block of wood. And it helps them brake too. So really innovative thing. This is our post-flight onboard selfie that CJ took. In the middle there, that's Kelly Latimer. She's our commander for the spaceship. She flew the spaceship while the rocket was burning. Flew into space. She spent her career with the Air Force. And very honored to have her running the show for us. You can see the mayor in her seat, Carolyn and I in our seats, and there's Beth at the end of a very happy flight. Still one of the most exciting moments is coming back and seeing friends and family. My wife is here, my sister's here, my grandson, my 3 stepkids, my son, my daughter, son-in-law, and to have them all there for the flight, really big special. Now, first was one highlight movie that Galactic made. It's about 2.5 minutes long.
On the drive up here, I was looking over at the eastern sky and starting to get a little bright from the sun, but I could see the Big Dipper. I said, oh, you can see the Big Dipper, you can see Polaris. So we found Polaris, and what Polaris is the pole star in our patch. And there was Polaris right out the front windshield going north on the southern road. There's the spaceport, our guiding star. To be here on the cusp of actually flying and seeing the spaceship, you see what you expect to see. You're gonna have to open up.
BRB.
Faster and going faster. So like the layers of that as it accelerated through the burn was Man, indescribable.
Welcome to space.
You are clear to unstrap.
And then it cuts off, and you go into quiet weightlessness. The thrill of a rocket firing into the atmosphere to weightless, quiet when you want to be contemplative and like taking in what's out there. It's quite a thing.
So I'll just finish with a couple pictures. Yeah, here's an image from one of the video cameras, and really the blue line is just amazing. You know, NASA astronauts have talked about. And I've talked to them. You won't believe how thin the atmosphere is. And I'm like, okay, I got it. And then like you see it, and they go, oh my God, that's like beyond the way you could conceive of it. And one of the first things I thought of was, what an incredibly unique existence. Like, how did this planet even get here in the first place? It's this shiny jewel of life and plants and air and water and people and living things floating, spinning in empty, black vastness. And how does it even get here in the first place? Like, so, what do you think happened? What do you need for us to have evolved as we have to understand what we do? It's like a double miracle. So, thinking more about that, they talk about the overview effect and how it changes you, and I definitely have effects related to that. And the planet, looking out on it, and I'm thinking, no matter what we do, that's just going to keep turning, and it's going to be going around whether we do what we want to do or whatever. And I think about all these things that I feel like sometimes I want to be at this event. It's so important, or it's I gotta have this product. And now I'm a little more relaxed. I'm like, well, if those things don't happen, it's okay then, or they're still going around. So one effect for me was just like to be more relaxed about things. And then the other thing, well, a few other things. Just like I think about the hate and killing that goes on among humans and on the planet. It just seems so senseless to me. We're in space right now together. We're all on a spaceship. We just don't think of it that way. We're floating through this empty black vastness, but we're concerned, as we should be, with the things we do on a day-to-day basis. But we really need to have more thinking of us as being on a spaceship together in one species and to work together in one species. So that's one reason I'm really so positive about all these different companies who take more and more people to space. So I'm sure that all you students out there will have the chance to go to space. Almost all you younger people, I think, will have the chance to go to space at probably a very younger age than I was when I went. So I would encourage you all to think that, that opportunity may happen. There's 4 companies that are building commercial space stations right now that are to succeed the ISS after that's retired. There's opportunities with those. SpaceX has done amazing things. They have this incredible Starship spacecraft that can fit 100 people in it. And they've had incredible success with their Falcon 9 rockets. So they think that you might find a ride on Starship, or you might love nutrition and food. And when there's a space hotel, somebody needs to figure out what's the best kind of food for people to have when they're floating in space. There's going to be fashion designers that design spacesuits and artists that design patches like our mission patch. There's going to be hospitality. You're in the hotel industry and you want to be, an expert in hospitality that's working on the space hotel that figures out the best experience for people staying there. So, there's careers and there's opportunities, I think, in any kind of thing. There's people that are managing data, there's people that are building spaceships that like working with their hands. So, why should we be going? It's for all those reasons, really. This is Emily Kelly. Emily, on one of Blue Origin's flights just earlier this year. Blue Origin's got the next flight tomorrow. So I'm going to leave you with that image from Apollo 17, our beautiful blue Earth. And encourage you to think about Earth as a spaceship. So thank you very much. So I'm happy to have questions. We have plenty of time. And if anyone wants to come down to when we're done, we'll talk to folks and say hi to kids. Yeah.
How long ago did you go to space?
How long ago did I go to space? I went October 2023. So in 2 months, I'll have my 2-year anniversary. And I'm going to call Kelly and Beth and say hi. And Trevor too, in the mirror, right here. She doesn't know how to reach sometimes. But we had a phone call last year, it was fun. What else?
Where are the 4 places that you could have used?
Pardon, what are
So there's 4 places where they're actually building these.
Oh, yeah, there's 4 companies building space stations, commercial space stations right now. Axiom is one. They've flown 4 crews now to the International Space Station. Vast is another one. They have their first module built and they're planning to launch it like next spring. Blue Origin's launch is building a commercial space station, and the 4th company I can't think of.
Are they all US based or something?
Yes, all US based. But internationally, there's a lot of rocket, travel, a lot of space companies building rockets. New Zealand has Rocket Lab that's had great success, launching satellites into space. Australia just launched, tried to launch their first rocket, failed, but the first try. Not uncommon, probably more common than not. India is building its rockets to space and is actually chosen astronauts to go on their first rocket for the Indian Space Agency. So, yeah.
How would you describe being weightless? Because I can only imagine skydiving or like swimming.
Yeah. So how I describe the weightless, is like, has some similarities to skydiving and floating underwater. Doing it on the test plane is super fun. It is like euphoria. You just lift off, you're going to lay down, and then all of a sudden as it points down, you just kind of float up. And it's magic. You can do all kinds of fun things like water. If you have a little squirt bottle, a water bottle, forms a sphere. So if you squirt out a couple of ounces of water, it gathers itself into like a perfect ball that you can just like right out of the grab with your mouth right out of the air, or like put a straw in it, like a suck it. But one of the ways they brought colored dye to put in balls. In the water too, so that does funny things. On the space flight, the weightless adding to the emotion of fulfilling a lifelong dream of going to space. The physical sensations of the rocket accelerating you through the atmosphere, combined with the views, incredible, vibrant planet in empty black vastness, and then the weightless is all on top of that. It's like it's more sensations than you can really take in. And really, the day of the flight is just like the spark of many, like for me, revelations and realizations that have come in the months afterwards. So,
places besides, space centers in the U.S. do you recommend people visiting?
So what space centers?
Besides space centers?
Yeah, besides space centers. What kinds of, well, if you're into history, there's places in New Mexico. White Sands Missile Range is where they launched the first rocket, U.S. rocket from space. Alamogordo has a museum there. Spaceport for Virgin Galactic is open for tours. You can arrange tours there.
You have the healthier check before you go to the spaceship.
So we have
You have a healthy.
a health check, yeah. So we meet with doctors. We need to meet with our own doctor, and they give us what they call an AMA, an airman medical, airman medical exam. Yeah. So they make sure that you're not at risk. But really, the system is engineered for anybody of even that's reasonably healthy to go. There's Wally Funk is 80 when she flew with Blue Origin. John Goodwin flew with Virgin Galactic at age 80. William Shatner flew at age 90 with Blue Origin.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's really designed to be manageable by anybody. Anyone else?
Okay, one more question.
Yeah, please.
When you,
Good afternoon.
you mentioned the re-entry of the heat. I
Yeah.
guess you weren't far enough to have that.
So the heat during reentry, we're definitely, they are definitely factoring in the thermal effect of heat on the spaceship. That's a critical part of their modeling. It's like you come in and you're traveling at 2,000 miles an hour at the peak speed in, builds a block of heat in the fractured atmosphere. Well, how thick is it? And how does the material that's at the bottom of the spaceship react to that kind of thermal load? So that's why they come in belly first, is so that they're placing the largest possible area of the ship into the atmosphere. If they came in nose first, you'd go too fast.
You have to train before you go to the spaceship.
Yeah, we trained for like 3 days. Yeah. So the whole balance of altitude and heat and rocket power, those all factor into like the magic formula, the magic, okay, here's where we're gonna go. You can go higher, but you need a bigger rocket. So you need more fuel, and you need, room for more people, but you can go higher and be hotter coming in. You need to add more thermal protection. That makes the thing way more. Then you need a bigger rocket to carry an extra weight. So, it's a very clever, balance to be in that spot. Yeah.
What was the worst part? Was it like just when the rocket, shoot go?
Oh, what was the worst part? The difficult part was, what kind of surprised me is on the way in, we get up to like 4 Gs, 4.5, but not through the chest. We get them head to toe because we're seated and we're coming in this way. But it's not sustained. It takes about a minute and it builds up to about 4 Gs and 5 Gs and then tails off. But that was a little disorienting. I was like, later in the video, you can see me kind of shaking my head and doing like this. And you can also see my cheeks start to sag and my eyelids start to sag as the gravity is pulling on me. So, yeah, that was a little, but still, at that point, you're on your way in, you just put space.
Full of adrenaline, probably.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Still am sometimes. I'm watching this.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for questions.
Okay.
Yeah? Over here. Thank you guys. Thanks for staying. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everyone at Chabot.
You are in the space before?
No, just one time.
You are in the spaceship before?
No, well, yeah, in that one. Yeah, not today though. Maybe tomorrow. Yeah. Great.
You said you're from Marin County? Yeah.